Alright, so welcome back to another Trace Trade Sunday live stream. So again, we're just going to be going over our weekly watch list. For those of you watching the YouTube video, you should check out the link in the description to join the server so you could attend the next weekly stream live and participate in all of the Q&A we have to do after. So to go right into it, D-Dog, repeat from last week, got a little bit more constructive on this earnings gap here. Definitely want to see a break there. Something worrying though is like these wicks that all poke above, like this candle even managed to like close above too. It was just a little like small, so that warrants the sell-off. But all these wicks up here, if we flick to more intraday time frames, you see like a lot of it like takes place like in the morning and then it sort of fades off the rest of the day. Like that's where you're getting a lot of those spikes. So that's something to keep in note. Maybe if you're day trading, that's like a pattern we've seen. Also, what it could mean though is that someone is pretty much aggressively buying at the open to maybe accumulate a position. Um, that's a little less likely because then there's really no need to drive the price up that much. So I'd look at that more as just like sentiment right now that in the morning it's being pumped. So take that with a grain of salt. Doesn't matter too much for what like we're looking at here. Again, just adding at this lower trend line here or anywhere close to the 8 EMA, this light blue line, or if you want to wait for a close above this breakout zone here, all those can work as pretty good swing trades. Maybe if you want to play a little bit closer, you could do a day trade as well. Next is Facebook. Caught a beautiful break from last week's pattern here. Mainly just looking at higher levels here. It got stopped a little short of where they gapped down from their earnings later in July. So I'd look out for that level for sure. It's around like 370, 250. I'd also look for retests down to these levels here at like 368, 369. We go a little bit more zoomed in. You can see like right here, like some support around this zone right here. If we want to catch like a resistance turned into support, that might be a good place to add as well. And that looks like it's going to line up with the 8 EMA as well. Alright, so moving on next we have GameStop. I don't really trade GameStop too much, but we have a triple inside day off this like the massive sort of burst we had earlier this week. So definitely want to keep an eye on a next leg there. Definitely looks like this consolidation and like a little bit of a downward trend definitely got really tight. And when we broke, we absolutely flew through. As these MAs start to cross too, that's another technical indicator that we might be looking at more upside. From the weekly, again, it just looks like bounced off this little support area a couple times and now is making a run back at these like 270 levels. So definitely on watch here. We also got net on the list. Again, net's a little redrawn, but it literally just looks like we're pushing up, making higher lows. Next incoming is higher highs. That's really all that I'm looking at. Very, very simple, very straightforward. I'm using this trend line here as a breakout, but you could use levels as well if you want to use like 125 as your level breakout. I'm sure that will also work pretty well. Netflix again from last week. We're still watching this weekly inverse head and shoulders, or if you want to play it as a wedge, either way. Definitely think it's bullish. We actually managed to close over this top wedge line. So again, if that's more your style, if that's what you're looking at and you're comfortable with, it's definitely a good indicator for you. And then on the daily, again, just absolute cup and handle right through this level here. And then you could see the head and shoulders a little bit more clearly maybe. Definitely want to be targeting these upper levels, like these upper like 580s, like for our eventual targets. Maybe again, consider a spread for now, and then like as we like drop lower, you can cut that short leg and then rebuy some of your long legs. And then last on the list for individual names is Roku. Really what we're seeing here is a little bounce in this fib zone. I don't do a lot with fibs usually, but this bounce does look pretty constructive, especially because as soon as we got low enough to this area, we pulled right back up and have been sort of staying really close to this 0.618 mark, which is what a lot of fib traders use as a like sort of golden pocket bounce. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. It also looks to be a reasonable area of demand with this selling off here, and then there's a little gap here. Definitely looking for a move through this 364 area, or really if you just want to add with stops like new lows, like maybe around like 350, that could also work too for a quick Monday add. It really all depends what we're looking at, but if we get through this 364 level, I'll probably look to scalp it for like a day trade if like the market conditions are good, and then maybe think about a swing. That's probably how I'm going to look at playing it. Or if we just stay close to this level again, I might add like at this level for a longer term swing, maybe in like October's. As for the broad market, starting off with SPY, looks pretty good. Just something noteworthy is like we're coming up on the top of this channel here. I'd take that again, grain of salt. Like it's a pretty steep channel for one, so even if it does stay like hugged to this top line, like that's still a good amount of growth that we're getting. And also like you see in the past, like it's broken through this and just like hug the top of it. So I might want to consider keeping it a little bit light. Maybe think about some longer dated contracts for swings. And then day trades again, just keep that a little light. Something that we see on SPY here, and I'm going to talk more about on the Qs because it's a little more significant, is this extension from this light blue line right here. This is our 8 EMA. Extension from this usually means that we're going to revert down to it. So looking at the Qs, again, caught this nice little range breakout, came back down, touched this 8 here, and now it's pushing pretty high above it on at these like 375 levels. So you'll see in the past, like anytime like Qs is running, like it's gonna stop, revisit the 8, runs up, stops, revisit the 8, maybe right here. So I think that's definitely something that we're gonna see happen maybe this week or next week. Is just a big revisit to this 8. We touched the 50 pretty recently, so I'm not too worried about that, but definitely big eyes on this 8 EMA, especially when you're going from like day to day. That's all I wanted to talk about for weekly watch list purposes, though. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to join the server and participate in the live streams with everyone else. It's completely free, you don't have to be a member or anything, so please feel free to join.